In the heart of the bustling research facility on Zenthara Prime, a group of alien scientists huddled around their observation screens, their elongated fingers tapping nervously against the consoles. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the air crackling with a mixture of anxiety and curiosity. Today, they were about to witness something unprecedented, an experiment involving a human, a so-called Deathworlder. Dr. Zylok, the lead scientist, adjusted his spectacles, his four eyes focused intently on the monitor displaying the human subject, a rugged individual named Marcus, known for his resilience and fierce will to survive. Marcus had volunteered for the experiment, eager to demonstrate the limits of his species' extraordinary physiology. The plan was straightforward: consume a lethal dose of poison and monitor the effects. As Marcus stood before the camera, a bottle of shimmering liquid in his hand, the scientists exchanged uneasy glances. The concoction was a potent neurotoxin, one that had incapacitated countless species within moments. For the Zentharians, this experiment was meant to confirm their long-held theory that humans were indeed a dangerous anomaly in the galaxy, a species that defied the natural order. "Are we sure about this?" one of the scientists, Dr. Kira, whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "What if he—" "Silence," Zylok snapped, his voice sharp. "We must observe this. If he survives, it could rewrite our understanding of biological limits." With a steely determination, Marcus raised the bottle to his lips, the liquid swirling ominously. He took a deep breath and drank it down in one swift motion. The scientists held their breath, their hearts pounding in their chests as they watched the monitor intently, waiting for signs of distress. For a moment, nothing happened. The room was filled with a heavy silence, punctuated only by the soft hum of the machinery. Then, as if the universe itself were holding its breath, Marcus began to cough. Panic surged through the scientists as they watched him double over, gasping for air. "Is he?" Kara began, but Zylok cut her off, eyes wide with anticipation. Suddenly, the human straightened up, a wild look in his eyes. Instead of collapsing, he threw back his head and laughed, a deep, booming sound that echoed through the lab. The scientists watched in shock as Marcus wiped his mouth, a hint of amusement dancing in his eyes. "I thought you said this was supposed to be deadly," he exclaimed, his voice full of incredulity. "Is this all you've got?" The room erupted into chaos. Scientists scrambled back from their consoles, their limbs flailing in disbelief. How could this be? How could a mere human withstand something that was guaranteed to be fatal? Panic rippled through the facility as they processed the reality before them. Zylok's mind raced as he struggled to comprehend the implications. "This is impossible. Analyze his vitals, now." As the team rushed to collect data, Marcus continued to mock the poison, challenging the very nature of life and death. Each passing second felt like an eternity, the weight of their assumptions collapsing under the sheer audacity of the human before them. The realization settled in the Deathworlder was not just surviving, he was thriving. The experiment was unraveling, the scientists' theories crumbling like dust in the wind. What they had viewed as a test of strength had become a harrowing confrontation with their own limitations. For the Zentharians, this was more than just a scientific anomaly. It was a profound shift in their understanding of the cosmos. As Marcus stood there, defiant and unyielding, they knew that they were witnessing a moment that would forever change the narrative of their own species. In that instant, the fear in the lab transformed into a deep-rooted respect. They were no longer just alien scientists studying a Deathworlder. They were witnesses to the indomitable spirit of humanity, a force of nature that could not be easily categorized or controlled. And as the chaos ensued, they could only wonder what this meant for the future of their galaxy. "You said." As the initial shock began to fade, the scientists quickly regained their composure, scrambling to gather data and conduct analyses. Screens blinked with readings that displayed Marcus's heart rate, blood pressure, and other vital signs, all remaining remarkably stable despite the toxic cocktail he had just consumed. Dr. Zylok, still reeling from the unexpected turn of events, leaned closer to the monitors, his multiple eyes darting between the fluctuating graphs. "This is unprecedented. His body is processing the toxin at an accelerated rate. We need to determine the mechanism behind this phenomenon." Marcus, still reveling in his newfound strength, approached the observation glass, peering into the eyes of his alien spectators. "You really thought that would take me down?" he teased, a grin spreading across his face. "I've faced worse back on Earth." His words sent a ripple of unease through the scientists. The implications of what he had just stated were profound. Earth, known to the galaxy as a death world, a place where the environment was hostile and survival was a daily struggle, produced beings capable of enduring extremes that no other species could. Gather the biological samples, Xyloc ordered, urgency creeping into his voice. We must analyze his blood, his tissue, anything we can to understand how he defied our expectations. As the team moved quickly to comply, Marcus's playful demeanor shifted to something more serious. You're missing the bigger picture here, he said, his tone turning somber. You think you can study me like a lab rat, but I'm not just an experiment. I'm a human being, a representative of my species, and we're not to be underestimated. The weight of his words hung in the air, and the scientists, caught in the whirlwind of their own astonishment, paused. For the first time, they saw him not just as a test subject but as a symbol of resilience. The realization that humans were not merely biological curiosities but complex beings with depth and purpose began to sink in. Let's not forget what you just did, Xyloc replied, trying to maintain his authority. You ingested a lethal toxin and survived. That alone warrants our study. Sure, study me, Marcus shrugged, but remember, every human out there is capable of surviving in harsh conditions. We've evolved to face dangers that would send most of you running for cover. With each passing moment, Marcus's bravado challenged the very foundations of the scientists' beliefs. As they conducted their tests and gathered samples, a sense of respect began to grow among them. This human was more than an anomaly. He represented a lineage of survival and adaptability that the galaxy had yet to fully comprehend. Hours turned into days as the research facility buzzed with activity. The alien scientists pored over Marcus's biological data, analyzing everything from his unique cell structures to his astonishing metabolic rate. Each discovery unveiled new layers of complexity, revealing a species forged in the fires of adversity. Meanwhile, Marcus took it upon himself to educate his alien hosts about humanity. He shared stories of Earth, its diverse ecosystems, the struggles of survival, and the relentless spirit that defined his people. He spoke of the wars they had fought, the challenges they had overcome, and the lessons learned from hardship. The scientists, once skeptics, now listened with rapt attention, captivated by the depth of human experience. They began to realize that the resilience Marcus demonstrated was not just a physical trait, it was a cultural one, woven into the very fabric of humanity. As the research progressed, news of Marcus's survival and the subsequent studies reached the Galactic Council. Many were intrigued, eager to witness this remarkable human firsthand. The aliens who had once regarded humans as a mere curiosity now sought to understand and learn from them. A summit was convened, and Marcus was invited to speak before representatives from various species. Standing before a sea of alien faces, he felt the weight of responsibility upon him. This was his chance to redefine humanity's place in the galaxy. As he spoke, the assembly listened, their skepticism gradually giving way to admiration. Marcus shared his belief that survival was not merely a matter of strength but of unity, cooperation, and understanding. He spoke of the importance of forging alliances, of working together to overcome the challenges that lay ahead. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers, Marcus declared, his voice steady. But if we can learn from each other, if we can share our strengths and support one another, there's nothing we cannot face together. By the end of his speech, the atmosphere in the chamber had transformed. What began as fear and suspicion had evolved into hope and curiosity. The council members looked at Marcus not as an experiment, but as a harbinger of change. In the weeks that followed, alliances between humans and various alien races began to flourish. The knowledge and technology shared by both sides led to advancements in medicine, agriculture, and defense, creating a tapestry of cooperation that had never before been seen. Dr. Xyloc, now a staunch advocate for humanity, stood beside Marcus during these discussions, vouching for the unique capabilities of humans and their potential role as allies. The initial panic that had gripped him and his team was replaced by a determination to learn from their newfound friends. And so, in a galaxy once marked by division and conflict, a new chapter began. Humans, the so-called Deathworlders, emerged not just as survivors, but as leaders and partners in the ongoing journey through the cosmos. In the end, the panic that once echoed through the research facility transformed into a profound respect for a species that had risen against all odds, forever changing the fate of the galaxy. And as Marcus continued to explore this new alliance, he knew that the story of humanity had only just begun. As the days turned into weeks, the newfound alliance flourished. The Galactic Council, now embracing the concept of unity among species, began to organize joint training sessions and cultural exchanges. Marcus became a pivotal figure in these initiatives, embodying the spirit of cooperation and resilience that defined humanity. On a particular day, the Council held a training exercise designed to simulate a crisis situation, one that required collaboration among the diverse species present. As various representatives gathered in the training arena, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and tension. Marcus stood alongside Dr. Zylok, ready to demonstrate human strategies in a simulated environment. Today, Marcus addressed the crowd. We'll face challenges that require us to think on our feet and work together. Remember, each species brings unique strengths to the table. Let's show what we can achieve as a united front. The simulation began, presenting a series of obstacles that mirrored real-life crises: hostile forces invading, natural disasters wreaking havoc, and environmental hazards threatening lives. As the participants faced these challenges, it became clear that teamwork was essential. Marcus took the lead in coordinating efforts, utilizing his experiences from Earth. He encouraged communication and trust among the various species, emphasizing the importance of understanding each other's strengths. The Thalans used their agility to scout ahead, while the Virans employed their advanced technology to create shields. Humans provided strategic insights that showcased their instinctual grasp of unpredictability. As the exercise progressed, it became evident that they were not just participants but a cohesive unit, each member relying on the other's abilities. Marcus felt a surge of pride as he observed the harmony unfolding in front of him, realizing how far they had come since his initial experiment. But then, without warning, the simulation encountered a major malfunction. The computer system that controlled the exercise crashed, plunging the arena into darkness and throwing everyone into chaos. Panic surged among the participants, the controlled environment quickly devolving into confusion. "Stay calm," Marcus shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to regroup, form a circle, and let's communicate." In the midst of the turmoil, his calm demeanor began to have a tangible effect. The representatives from various species looked to him for guidance, finding comfort in his confidence. Slowly but surely, they gathered, forming a protective circle, each species contributing their abilities to maintain order. Zylok, who had once observed Marcus with skepticism, now stood alongside him, coordinating efforts with newfound respect. "Let's use our technology to bring the systems back online," he suggested. The Virans quickly rallied, employing their technological prowess to restore power to the systems. Meanwhile, the Thalans utilized their keen senses to navigate through the dark, ensuring the safety of those who were disoriented. Humans utilized their resourcefulness to improvise solutions, creating makeshift signals to maintain contact. Minutes felt like hours as they worked through the crisis, but slowly, the lights flickered back to life, illuminating the arena once more. Cheers erupted from the participants as they realized they had successfully navigated the challenge, all while fostering a deeper understanding of one another's strengths. When the simulation concluded, the council members gathered for debriefing, their expressions a mixture of awe and newfound respect for humanity. They had witnessed firsthand the extraordinary capabilities that came from working together, and Marcus stood at the center of it all, beaming with pride. "Today, we proved that we can overcome any obstacle," he declared, his voice resonating through the crowd. "But this is just the beginning. Together, we can face the threats lurking beyond our borders. Let's not only survive but thrive in this galaxy." As applause filled the arena, Marcus knew that the moment had solidified their bond. The fear that once characterized their interactions had been replaced by trust, friendship, and a shared purpose. The barriers that had once separated them were crumbling, paving the way for a new era. In the following months, joint missions became a regular occurrence. The Alliance focused on gathering intelligence about the Kordath conquerors, whose threats still loomed large over the galaxy. United by a common goal, they pooled resources and shared strategies, honing their skills as they prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Marcus became a key strategist in these operations. Working closely with representatives from each species, they devised plans that leveraged their strengths, creating an impressive force that was more than the sum of its parts. As they launched their first offensive against the Kordath, Marcus stood at the helm of the flagship, a human representative among a coalition of allies. The fleet was a magnificent sight, ships of varying designs, each representing the uniqueness of their species, flying in formation, united in purpose. Remember, he reminded them, we fight not just for our survival but for the survival of every species in this galaxy. Together, we are stronger. The battle commenced with fierce intensity as the Kordath forces descended upon them, their ships darkening the sky. But this time, it was different. The coalition fought back with unparalleled coordination, employing tactics that blended the best of each species. The air crackled with energy as beams of light and projectiles collided in a dazzling display. With each engagement, the coalition grew more formidable. They worked as one, utilizing their unique abilities to outmaneuver the Kordath, exploiting their weaknesses, and adapting in real time. Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline as they pushed forward, knowing that their collective strength was greater than any individual could muster. As the battle raged on, Marcus found himself face to face with a Kordath commander, a towering figure cloaked in armor that seemed impervious to damage. The creature snarled, confident in its species' superiority, but Marcus stood his ground, fueled by the unity of his allies. Your arrogance blinds you, the Kordath commander growled. You think you can defeat us with these weaklings? We're not weak, Marcus replied defiantly. We're united, and we will show you the strength of our diversity. With that, he launched himself into the fray, rallying his allies as they surrounded the Kordath commander. The fight was fierce, but the coalition worked seamlessly, combining their strengths to exploit the commander's overconfidence. In a climactic moment, as the Kordath commander faltered, Marcus and his allies executed a well-coordinated maneuver, combining their firepower to land a decisive blow. The commander fell, and with it, a wave of shock swept over the Kordath forces. As they witnessed their commander's defeat, the Kordath began to retreat, their once imposing presence crumbling in the face of unity. Cheers erupted across the coalition fleet as they celebrated their hard-fought victory. They had not only survived but triumphed against an adversary that had once seemed insurmountable. In the aftermath of the battle, Marcus stood on the observation deck of the flagship, gazing out at the stars. The night sky shimmered with possibility, a testament to the bonds forged in the fires of conflict. The galaxy, once divided, was now on the cusp of a new era, a future where cooperation and understanding reigned supreme. As news of their victory spread, other species began to take notice. Intrigued by the coalition's strength and unity, more races sought alliances, eager to join forces against the threats that loomed beyond their borders. Humanity, once considered a mere curiosity, had emerged as a respected ally in the interstellar community. Back on Zenthra Prime, the Galactic Council convened once more, this time to honor the alliance that had transformed their understanding of survival. Marcus was invited to speak, standing alongside his fellow representatives. We've proven that our differences make us stronger, he began, his voice steady. Together, we can face whatever challenges lie ahead. This victory is just the first step toward a brighter future, one built on trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. As applause erupted, Marcus felt a swell of hope. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the forefront of that transformation. The legacy of the Deathworlders was no longer one of mere survival, it was one of leadership and unity. With newfound determination, the coalition turned their sights toward the future, ready to face whatever dangers awaited them in the cosmos. They were no longer just a collection of disparate species but a thriving alliance, bound by shared purpose and the unbreakable bonds of friendship. And as Marcus looked out at the stars, he knew that the journey had only just begun. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their universe, carving a path for generations to come, united as one in the face of adversity.